All right, so we recently took some impact windows over to the Fire Station 2 in Temple Terrace, and we wanted to basically do a blind study with the firefighters in regards to them not having any idea how to get through the windows. So we used a bunch of different tools, a bunch of different things that came naturally to them and their training as firefighters, and we also had some fun too. The point of the demonstration was just to basically put them in a situation where they had no idea in regards to what it typically takes to go through an impact window. They had no prior experience. I caught one of the guys watching a video prior to, I gave him a hard time. So the demonstration was just about allowing them to experience the strength of the windows and see how they would get through it. Once we got through the first window, after that, we wanted to see what would be the fastest way based on what they did before. So some of the tools that we used in part of the demonstration was a sledgehammer, a Halligan, which is kind of like a pickaxe in some capacity. We used a GlassMaster, we used a Sawzall, and we used a K12, which is also referred to in construction as a concrete saw. And a lot of these tools were used in conjunction with each other. The big picture here, what we want to look at is what tools are the most efficient. So I want to go through each tool and talk about them and then go into the combination of those tools with others. So in another one of my videos, we took our windows to a gun range. We shot it with various caliber bullets. We went up to a 50 cal BMG, big bullet. After the window was shot 3 times with a 50 cal BMG round, I went after that and hit it 6 times with a 2x4. 5 of those 6 times, I gave it all I absolutely had, and the windows still had a lot of integrity. So going into this demonstration, I already knew that the windows were gonna give these guys a hard time. So starting from the least recommended would be using a sledgehammer by itself. So the sledgehammer by itself, in one of the videos, you see the guy take a brand new window versus a sledgehammer. He probably ended up hitting the window, I would say 10 to 12 times, and he could not penetrate the glass. The only thing that happened was the glass broke towards the bottom. However, the window as a whole, in regards to breaching the space, had a lot of integrity, and there was no way that he was getting in there, at least with any efficiency. We saw another video online of some firefighters demonstrating another way that they can get in, and that's actually using a sledgehammer and an axe together in conjunction. So basically, they would strike the window with an axe and then basically use the sledgehammer to chisel it. The downside with this method, and as you can see in the video, it would just take a lot of time to pretty much go all the way down. You have the weight of the sledgehammer, the weight of the axe. You have 2 guys that you're utilizing to just try to get into this window. 2 of the firefighters said that it would easily take 3 to 5 minutes to enter the window. You know, when it comes to impact windows and emergency response teams getting inside, blunt force is not the answer. I mean, unless you're a SWAT team and you're driving a tank through the window, that's another story. But as far as hand tools and blunt force objects, even the axe by itself, I don't think that would be an efficient way if you just whacked at it with an axe all day. It's just gonna give you trouble. The axe will get bound by the membrane. You're gonna have to, wedge it out. Very inefficient. After that, I would say the next least efficient was the combination of a Halligan or an axe and the handsaw, or they call it the GlassMaster. So what we realized during our demonstration is the best way for emergency response teams to breach an impact window is to first create a puncture and then use a saw or a tool to basically get through the glass. So what we did in one example is we basically scored the window with an axe. Once again, the clock is ticking. That took some time, and this is just literally like one section of the window, not even the whole window. They basically scored the glass and used a handsaw and sawed through the window. It worked. Once again, not efficient, still more efficient than the sledgehammer and the axe. Next up, we have the K12. The K12 is an absolute beast. And the reason why I put it in second place is just because you have a large tool. This is probably a 25-pound, 35-pound tool. It's gas powered. You have to take it out of the truck, set it to the ground, pump it, prime it. The firefighters actually do a good job. I had no idea prior to this, but every day they test all their tools to make sure that they're in working order. And if anything is not functioning properly, they're gonna send it in for service. So that concrete saw that weighs 25, 30 pounds, they have to take it out of the truck, set it on the ground, prime it, start it up, get it going. A point that one of the guys made is if we have a second story or a third story rescue, these guys have to tote that K12 or that concrete saw up a ladder. It's dangerous. It's not really the best thing. I would probably say it's the most efficient in regards to if you just pass me the saw and I just go and I cut. There's a specific term used in firefighter nomenclature, which is just another word for creating a puncture hole. So with the K12, they don't have to create that hole at first. They can literally just saw into whatever they want. However, once again, heavy, needs gas, needs time to start up. Not the best. However, that K12 will just cut through the glass like butter. And I wanted to show you, so in the demonstration, we actually used a fixed window where it's just a big piece of glass. And then one of the guys brought up a good point, which was, you know, what happens when we run into windows such as a single hung, or if we turn this window sideways, it would be essentially a horizontal roller where we have pieces of metal. Now, if those previous examples where we had the axe, the sledgehammer, the GlassMaster, that GlassMaster is going to struggle, that sledgehammer is going to struggle when it comes to the aluminum. Obviously, you could break it and bend it. That's not an argument here. Once again, the biggest issue is time. So when it comes to pure efficiency, what's the fastest? I would say the K12 is a winner. However, you know, we did vertical cuts. We didn't do any horizontal cuts. So you have to hold this saw sideways, the width of the opening that you're trying to create. That can be a problem. Now, the most efficient, I'm excited to say it for the firefighters and the rescuers out there. I'm sad to say it for the impact window industry because it was just embarrassing based on what I've seen, you know, in regards to the missile tests, in regards to hitting it with 2x4s, in regards to shooting the windows. The Sawzall cuts through these windows just as the K12 does, but like butter. As far as I know, this is my best recommendation when it comes to breaching impact windows, is to create that puncture and then basically insert the Sawzall and cut all the way through. So a question was would the Sawzall make the turn, or would we have to create another hole in the window in order to get the sides and then come up around the top? The Sawzall actually does a good job of turning, as long as you turn and give yourself a little bit of time just to cut that corner and turn all the way through. The Sawzall will also do a great job when it comes to any windows that have multiple panes. The Sawzall will chew right through all the aluminum. You're looking at just having two pieces of equipment, the Halligan or something else to make the puncture through the glass. The hardest thing is just getting through that inner layer. So when it comes to choosing the right tools to getting through impact windows or doors, in my opinion and the firefighter's opinion, based off the test that we did, is to first use the Halligan or a sharp tool just to puncture the glass. And we're just gonna work our way all the way down and around. You know, you can cover it with a blanket so somebody doesn't get scratched or hurt. Another big thing I didn't like about the K12 is the K12 is gonna kick out, it's gonna pulverize the glass. So there's gonna be a lot of glass dust, which can be dangerous if somebody's on the other side breathing that stuff in. If the firefighters don't have on all of their equipment, it can potentially be hazardous. Whereas the Sawzall, you'll get a little bit of glass dust, but it's mostly just shards of glass that are flying. So once again, you know, in regards to efficiency, in regards to the weight of tools, difficulty of getting those tools out of the truck up and running, the Sawzall is my tool of choice for firefighters or any emergency services to get through an impact window or door. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you guys for watching. We'd love the opportunity to do another demonstration. We have an excellent deal with our manufacturer from Eurocraft. They're happy to donate windows in order for training for other fire stations. So if you know somebody who's a firefighter that'd be interested in getting a demonstration to their station, please let us know. Bigfoot Windows and Roofing, building trust around the state of Florida. One window, one door, one roof at a time. Thank you.